Would you dare drink a glass of this for 5 nights in a row, even without knowing what might come out of your gut afterward? Because what many people carry inside their bodies for years in silence is literally rotting from the inside out. Science has already proven, even people who have daily bowel movements still accumulate residues that stick to the walls of the colon. These residues ferment, inflame, and spread toxins that sabotage your energy, your digestion, your memory, and accelerate aging like a slow poison. And the scariest part is that these remains might be there right now, inside you, invisible, silent, but corroding your health from within, especially after 60, when the gut no longer functions like it used to, and any mistake can come at a high cost. What I'm going to show you in this video is something simple yet powerful. 5 substances that, when used correctly, have the potential to flush out these residues naturally without diarrhea, without cramps, and without relying on expensive medications. But there's a catch. One of these substances, if consumed at the wrong time or in the wrong way, can make everything worse. It can cause bloating, slow intestinal transit, and even mental confusion. So stay with me until the end, because I'm going to reveal this ingredient and show you how to avoid this mistake that so many people make, thinking they're taking care of themselves. Click the subscribe button to keep receiving this kind of information that most doctors don't even mention. And let me know in the comments where you're listening from today, just so I know you're among those who've chosen to take care of their health. 1. Hydrated chia, the invisible broom for your gut. There is something that, when prepared correctly, acts like a silent housekeeper inside your body, sliding along the curves of the intestine and carrying away everything that's been stuck for far too long. We're talking about hydrated chia, but not just any chia. Only the one properly activated in water has the power to form the gel that cleans, protects, and regenerates. What many people don't realize is that, with age, the intestine loses part of its motility, that is, its ability to move food all the way through digestion. This means that poorly digested particles, dried mucus, and even toxins from ultra-processed foods begin to accumulate in the folds of the colon and stay there, fermenting, inflaming, releasing gases and toxins that affect the entire body. That's why elderly people, even with daily bowel movements, still report feeling bloated, mentally sluggish, unexplained aches, or even constant bad breath. What's causing all this might be what isn't coming out. Hydrated chia is rich in fermentable, soluble fiber, and that's its real power. Unlike insoluble fibers that just push waste along, chia creates a gelatinous substance that sticks to the intestinal walls, drags out old residues, and even feeds the good bacteria in your gut flora. This activates the production of anti-inflammatory compounds called short-chain fatty acids, like butyrate, a true protector of the intestinal barrier. When butyrate is present, it strengthens the junctions between intestinal cells, reduces permeability, and prevents toxins from leaking into the bloodstream, which protects your immunity, your cognition, and even your mood. But pay attention. The most common and most dangerous mistake is consuming dry or poorly hydrated chia. This can cause the opposite effect: bloating, constipation, and even blockages in severe cases. The secret is in the activation. Place 1 tablespoon of chia in half a glass of water and let it soak for at least 30 minutes. Ideally, prepare it the night before and drink it on an empty stomach or before bed. The texture should be gelatinous, almost like a thin pudding. This is what allows its cleansing action. Start with half a tablespoon if you've never used it before and see how your body reacts. Increase gradually and never forget to drink water throughout the day. And a bonus, this drink also prolongs satiety, regulates blood sugar, and helps control cholesterol. Extra benefits for those seeking longevity with quality. Have you ever used chia like this? Tell me in the comments. Your experience can inspire and alert others who are also on this journey to cleanse the gut and live better. Now, if you thought chia was powerful, wait until you see what's next. The next drink is even older and was used by Eastern monks to keep the gut functioning like clockwork. And the most impressive part, it tastes like dessert. 2. Homemade kefir, the living elixir of the gut flora. Imagine being able to plant an army of life inside your gut with just 1 glass a day. That's what homemade kefir does. Unlike the industrial yogurts you find at the supermarket, full of sugar, thickeners, and preservatives, kefir is a living food, slowly fermented, that carries billions of microorganisms capable of repopulating your gut like no other known food over time. The intestinal microbiota of the elderly becomes increasingly poor and unbalanced. Antibiotics, chronic stress, a sedentary lifestyle, restrictive diets, and natural aging cause good bacteria to die, leaving room for bad ones. This not only disrupts digestion, but also affects the production of essential neurotransmitters like serotonin and GABA, which directly influence mood, sleep, memory, and the sense of well-being. That's why many seniors feel sad for no reason, have unexplained anxiety attacks, or feel their brain shutting down throughout the day. The gut has disconnected from the mind. Kefir comes in as a bridge restorer. When you consume kefir made by hand with live grains, you're ingesting a combination of high-impact probiotics that arrive alive in the gut, where they form protective biofilms, fight pathogenic bacteria, and promote the rebirth of your intestinal flora. And that changes everything. Intestinal transit regulates naturally. Nutrient absorption improves. Inflammation levels decrease, and metabolism begins to respond again. In fact, studies published in Frontiers in Microbiology show that daily consumption for just 4 weeks can significantly improve microbiota composition and reduce inflammation markers in the elderly. But it's essential that it be homemade. Industrial products that claim to contain active cultures are usually pasteurized, have a very low probiotic load, or contain generic strains that do not survive stomach acid. On the other hand, kefir made with active grains adapts to your body, ferments continuously, and becomes increasingly potent with daily use. The preparation is simple, just 1 tablespoon of kefir, grains, and a cup of milk. It can be cow's, goat's, or even plant-based like coconut milk. Let it ferment at room temperature, covered with a clean cloth, for 24 hours. Then strain and consume. The taste is slightly sour, like a thicker natural yogurt. If you want to soften it, you can blend it with fruits like papaya or plum, which even boosts its laxative and nutritional effect. If you're a beginner, start with half a cup per day and observe how your body reacts. Some people feel mild discomfort in the first few days, which is common when the gut is intoxicated and begins to be cleansed. Keep consuming it regularly, and the adaptation will come. And remember, if you take antibiotics, laxatives, or continuous medications, kefir may be even more essential to counteract the side effects on your gut. Have you ever made kefir at home? Or did you always think it was too complicated? If you've never tried it, maybe now is the right time to give it a shot. Let me know in the comments if you've ever had any experience with natural probiotics, or if you're thinking about starting now, your story might help others overcome their fear and take the first step. And in the next segment, get ready, because the third drink on our list doesn't come from the East, but from the tropical forests of Latin America. It has a deep color, earthy taste, and has been considered a colon cleanser for centuries by traditional communities. And the most curious part, it works while you sleep. 3. Beetroot and lemon juice. The nighttime cleanse your gut loves them. Imagine drinking something at dusk and waking up the next day with a lighter belly, a functioning gut, and a mental clarity you barely remembered existed. That's the promise and the real effect of beetroot and lemon juice. An old, simple, cheap combination that's deeply overlooked in modern clinics. But for those over 60, it can be the equivalent of an internal shower, not the lukewarm kind that only cleans the surface, but a deep cleanse done in the depths of the large intestine. Beetroot is a highly functional root, rich in fiber, antioxidants, and natural nitrates. But what few people know is that it contains a pigment called betalain, responsible for its intense reddish color and for a powerful cleansing effect. Betalains help neutralize toxins, protect the liver, and stimulate bile production, which improves not only fat digestion, but also the mobilization of accumulated waste in the gastrointestinal tract. And here's an important detail: seniors usually produce less bile, which makes this natural support even more essential for those who want to reduce bloating, improve bowel movements, and avoid stone formation. When combined with lemon, beetroot becomes even more potent. Lemon, in addition to being a natural source of vitamin C, which helps absorb the iron from the beetroot itself, also contains citric acid, a compound that stimulates the liver and pancreas, alkalizes the internal environment, and regulates intestinal pH. More than that, it acts as an astringent agent, helping to loosen debris stuck to the intestinal walls. It's as if the lemon dissolves the crusts and the beet pulls them out. But the most curious and lesser-known effect of this combination happens during sleep. When consumed in the late afternoon or early evening, this juice works slowly, respecting the natural rhythm of the digestive system. Unlike aggressive laxatives, it doesn't cause urgency, pain, or cramps. It prepares the ground, and the next morning, the body simply responds, naturally, with lightness. For many seniors, this is the first step in recovering a regular bowel routine without having to rely on medication. The recipe is simple and powerful. Half a raw beetroot, the juice of half a lemon, and half a glass of water. Blend everything in a blender and drink immediately, preferably between 5 and 7 p.m. For those with a very sensitive gut or who are just starting out, you can add a thin slice of ginger, which aids digestion and boosts the anti-inflammatory effect. And if you've been struggling with constipation for years, you might be surprised by the result after just 2 or 3 consecutive nights. But caution, people with low blood pressure should consume it carefully, as beetroot can reduce blood pressure in some situations, and if you have kidney stones, consult a professional, as the oxalate present in beetroot can interfere in specific cases. Have you ever tried this combination? I bet most people have only heard of beetroot cooked in salads, but never imagined this nighttime juice could act as a silent cleanser while you sleep. If you've already tried it or are curious, let me know in the comments, and share your experience with others who also need a natural and effective solution to this very common issue after 60. And the next ingredient goes beyond cleansing. It rebuilds. Its effect isn't just about removing excess waste, but repairing what has been damaged. We're talking about an ancestral food that works like an internal ointment on the intestinal mucosa, and that's been secretly used by some of the world's most modern nutritionists. And the most surprising part is prepared in under 3 minutes with just 2 ingredients. 4. Aloe vera gel with apple. The plant-based ointment that repairs the gut from within. There's a substance that, when it touches your intestinal wall, acts like an invisible balm. It doesn't just soothe, it regenerates. It seals calms inflammation, rehydrates tissue, and creates a sort of protective film over the most damaged cells. This miracle compound is hidden inside a plant that many have at home, but few know how to use wisely: aloe vera. And when combined with apple, the result is a drink with a quiet, yet deep, therapeutic power over the digestive system, especially for those who suffer from sensitive gut, irritable bowel, or chronic inflammation. As the years go by, many seniors develop a more vulnerable gut. Repeated exposure to processed foods, harsh medications, pesticides, alcohol, and even accumulated stress injures the intestinal lining. These small lesions don't always cause immediate pain, but they open the door to a problem known as leaky gut, where particles that should be eliminated end up entering the bloodstream. This triggers silent inflammation, autoimmune reactions, food allergies, weight gain, constant fatigue, and even brain fog. Aloe vera contains powerful anti-inflammatory and regenerative compounds, such as anthraquinones, ismanin, and natural digestive enzymes that support mucosal healing. When the inner gel of the leaf is properly extracted and consumed regularly, it acts like a plant-based ointment that coats the intestinal walls, promoting not just relief, but true regeneration. What was once a rough and inflamed surface becomes a smooth, healthy channel, ready to absorb nutrients efficiently again. Apple serves as the perfect ally. Rich in pectin, a soluble fiber with high fermentative potential, apple feeds good bacteria and acts as a gentle complement that enhances aloe's hydrating and restorative effect. Together, they promote balanced intestinal transit, reduce gas, combat harmful bacteria, and strengthen the integrity of the gut barrier. And more, the apple's natural sweetness offsets the bitterness of aloe, making the drink not just therapeutic, but surprisingly pleasant to taste. To prepare it, simply cut an aloe leaf in half. Carefully extract the clear gel, never the yellow part, which is laxative and irritating, and blend it with half a red apple and a little water. Ideally, consume this drink on an empty stomach or before bed. And the secret lies in consistency. 5 nights in a row may be enough to notice more lightness, reduced bloating, and even an improvement in mood. Yes, because a peaceful gut sends positive signals to the brain, and that changes everything about how you experience the day. But be careful. Do not use store-bought aloe from cosmetic aisles or pharmacies. It must be fresh from an organically grown plant, and the gel must be carefully handled to avoid including aloe, the yellow substance between the skin and gel that can cause diarrhea. If you've never consumed aloe internally before, start with 1 tablespoon of gel blended with apple and increase as your body responds. In just a few days, you may notice your gut is not only working better, but calmer, smarter, more alive. Have you ever tried aloe vera for internal use? Some people feel deeply disgusted just imagining it, but those who overcome that block discover a powerful natural ally that no pharmacy can offer. Tell me in the comments, had you heard of aloe's effect before, or was this a complete surprise? I love hearing how these natural discoveries impact the real lives of those listening to me. And if you thought that drink was bold, wait for what's next, because the fifth element on our list doesn't even look like food. It's a violet powder made from fruits grown in extreme climates. And it's being studied by scientists for one simple reason. It changes the way your gut talks to your brain. And maybe you've walked past it on the shelf and ignored it. 5. Freeze-dried blueberry powder. The secret connection between gut and brain. It has no strong smell, no intense flavor, but it holds the power of a microscopic battlefield between good and bad bacteria. We're talking about freeze-dried blueberry powder, one of the purest, most concentrated, and most effective ways to reprogram the silent dialogue that takes place every day between your gut and your brain. For many seniors, that connection is worn down, almost silent. And that's why so many feel sudden sadness, unexplained fatigue, or a sort of mental fog that seems to have no cause, but does. It starts in the gut, and this powder may help reverse it. As we age, the digestive system undergoes structural and functional changes. Digestive enzymes decline, stomach pH changes, the microbiota loses diversity, and the gut lining thins out. All of this hampers nutrient absorption, but it goes further. The intestinal barrier begins to fail, and substances that should be eliminated enter the bloodstream, triggering silent inflammation that even affects the brain. It's the root of many neurodegenerative diseases. But what few know is that certain natural compounds, especially polyphenols from red fruits, can cross the blood-brain barrier and reduce that inflammation, protecting neurons and restoring cognitive functions. Blueberries are among the richest fruits in anthocyanins on the planet. These compounds have high antioxidant power and a unique affinity with receptors in the gut and brain. But there's a problem. Most fresh blueberries sold in urban markets were picked green, transported long distances, and lost much of their active nutrients along the way. That's why freeze-dried powder stands out. It's produced through a technological process that removes water at extremely low temperature, preserving nearly 100% of the nutrients from the fresh fruit, including the volatile compounds that would be lost through traditional cooking or freezing. This powder, when consumed consistently, feeds good gut bacteria, reduces mucosal inflammation, and stimulates the production of serotonin, dopamine, and other chemical messengers that regulate mood and focus. It also improves bowel regularity, fights gas, strengthens the immune system, and helps control glucose levels, which is vital for those over 60. The ideal way to take it is simple: half a teaspoon mixed with water, yogurt, smoothies, or even in oatmeal or pancake recipes. It can be consumed in the morning, afternoon, or before bed. And because it's light, easy to digest, and highly bioavailable, even those with sensitive guts tolerate it well, as long as they start with small doses. In just 5 consecutive nights, many people report improvements in sleep, focus, digestion, and even morning energy. It's as if the whole body gets rewired from the inside out. But an important warning: be cautious with products that are too cheap or have confusing labels. True freeze-dried blueberry powder must be 100% pure, with no maltodextrin, dyes, or additives. The price may be a bit higher, but the value it delivers to your body is incomparable. A small dose contains the equivalent of dozens of fruits with full nutritional value. If you've ever used this type of supplement, tell me how it went. And if you'd never heard of it before, let me know in the comments if this was the biggest surprise of the video. I love hearing when a new piece of information opens doors that once felt invisible. Which of these tips is the hardest for you to put into practice? Tell me in the comments. We're here to help you get through it. And make sure to subscribe to the channel right now, because that helps this kind of information reach people who don't have access to books, doctors, or research. And before you go, there's something your gut urgently needs, but it can't produce on its own. You can cleanse, regenerate, and balance it, but if this fruit is missing, everything can fall apart again. It's small, sweet, and many people avoid it because they think it makes you gain weight. But in reality, it activates a type of muscle fiber that only responds when the gut is healthy. Without it, the strength and energy you're striving for might never come. Go check out which fruits these are, and why this one in particular could be the missing piece in your routine, because keeping your gut clean is only half the journey.